Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replays from Hadi, and he's in the Cossack, a tier 8 premium British destroyer. He's on a map trap in a 3-point domination game. So he's top tier, which is pretty lovely. There is no raider, which is even lovelier, but there's a carrier. So it all comes at a price, I guess. Now he has sailed into the sea cap, and so far the enemy team has decided to not contest him in any way. Now part of this might be due to the friendly carrier. I guess the destroyers could have seen those planes and were like, yeah, no. But the good news is we have destroyers in all the camps so far. Now it looks like there is a Fubuki going for the center, but the Z-31 might... Oh wait, it's Z-31. Yeah, okay, the Fubuki outguns it. But anyway. Meanwhile, Hadi has found a tasty scone, and well, scones are meant to be, so that's exactly what he's going to do here.
Smoke generator activated.
Now, the friendly carrier is here to provide spotting, so he's using the smoke screen, no reason to take some damage if you don't have to. This hydro is running, so he is safe from torpedoes, and well, that's the first blood there.
Enemy destroyer blown up. Off to a cracking.
He's also gotten some torpedo hits, and yeah, enemy torpedoes are spotted, so easily dodged. He can get a few more shots into the Scharnhorst before his smoke disappears, and then his torpedoes are going to be ready again, so he can... Well, I mean, is it even necessary to torpedo the Scharnhorst? It looks like this Scharnhorst is on very low health. It's also somewhat broadside to the friendlies here. So the friendly guys on Scharnhorst should actually be able to sink this Scharnhorst pretty easily. Now his torpedoes, I'm assuming maybe he thought the Scharnhorst would reverse there. Or maybe he was hoping that the Nagato wasn't that fast, because the Nagato wasn't spotted. And would sail into those. Of course this Scharnhorst is already sinking. I guess the Helena could also be coming around here.
Our team has taken the lead.
Now he triggered here his special captain and got one more charge of his consumables, which is always pretty. Meanwhile, the friendlies have basically every cap. So he started open water gunboating a bit here, but he's gotten slightly hit, so he decides, you know what, why not just use a smoke screen? I mean, he just got the free consumable slot anyway.
Smoke screen set.
And there are plenty of smoke screens left. Now the friendly Scharnhorst is moving in here. I'm not sure what the Gneisenau is doing. Let's have a look at this Gneisenau. It's full health. Of course it is. So there is only a Nagato and a Helena here. There is... Why would you sit back here in a Gneisenau? I don't know. It's a shame. Right, if the Gneisenau was pushing in together with the Scharnhorst, they would be much more effective. And honestly, they run a sync like this Nagato and the Helena, if possible. Now, yes, the friendlies have all the camps, so they are not in a position where they need to push that much. But, like, especially at this cap here, right, there isn't... I guess the Nagato can run down the 10 line. But they can't just run straight away easily here, because this cap is so much into the corner. So a push from the Gneisenau and the Scharnhorst here might have been very effective. At the very least catch the Helena, maybe even prevent the Nagato from fleeing. And then they can, once like this area is cleared out, like if the enemies run down the 10 line, then you can push towards the B cap, because the B cap could use some help right now. But be that as it may, Hadi is on his way towards the B cap. If it's only the Fubuki, he can easily take care of them. Unless the Fubuki gets help somehow. Now, we have the friendly Scharnhorst running into the north. I don't know why. I mean, at least the Gneisenau is moving forward there. I mean, there is nothing up. Is this the Scharnhorst so low health? I mean, it's taken a bit of a hit, but not that bad. Anyway, so Hadi has some troops going. Maybe they'll get a nice hit there. And he's almost made it to the B cap. Hydro, unfortunately, not ready. I mean, he could always eat some random Fubuki torpedoes, which would be a shame. Like, the Fubuki could just torp into this direction to, like, torpedo the Leander. But then again, he should be angled again. And, well, we know the Fubuki isn't inside the camp, but I presumed RPF is tracking it, so it might just be right behind it. And now somebody is actually in the camp. So he's... Yeah... Oh wait, it's an Icarus. It's not a Fubuki. Well, I mean, you know. wouldn't say no to an Icarus here. It's probably just as good. So he's gotten quite a bit of damage in, and nobody even shot him for it. So, well, I mean, somebody tried.
Deactivated.
Hydro almost ready again. Where that will be rather helpful in... Like, if he wants to charge the Icarus, right, with the Hydro healer, he should be somewhat safe from torpedoes. I mean, if you're very close, it would still be possible that there's a torpedo coming that you can't dodge, but... So, the Icarus has moved a little bit too far. And he can't, like, reverse back there in time. I mean, this little bit of island here stops torpedoes, but didn't stop the guns. And well, the friendly carrier was also here to spot if necessary. Although, I'm never sure, like, if this piece of island, like, at which point it would have prevented the spotting. Islands can be a little bit weird. Let's put it like that. Anyway. Overall, okay, now the friendlies are one ship behind, but it's fine. They have basically all the objectives and quite a bit of a points lead. Now the enemy isn't making any move so far to take an objective. So, you know, I guess the enemy is just afraid of... Well, I don't actually know what they're afraid of. They are pretty clearly afraid of something. Now, Hadi has decided to move towards A. Like, most of the enemy ships seem to be just going towards A. I don't know, maybe this is a staging area. They all wanna just gather here and then go on a diving excursion together. See what's at the bottom of the sea. I have no idea. But what I do know is that this New Mexico might just be in need of a little bit of fire. So... Adi here is smoking up, and he is starting to pew at New Mexico a bit, because why not? The friendlies have all the caps, there isn't a cap to take right now. The destroyer, well, the enemy destroyers, not entirely sure where they are right now. The Fubuki and the Fantastic were spotted there at the A area, but currently nobody is trying to take A, so who knows? So when in doubt, you know, just get a little bit of pew in. It looks like the enemy team is actually has decided that maybe, just maybe, moving towards an objective is a good idea. So torpedoes are unfortunately going to miss, but there is a juicy fire, and... Is it going to be damage count? Well, it looks like it's still burning nicely. Now, as I guess somewhat expected, the enemy is flipping A. The friendlies aren't looking that great ship-wise now. They are 2 ships behind. But I mean, you know, it's not the end of the world. And that could easily change. For example, the New Mexico is rather low.
Smoke generator
And Hadi is going to use his next smoke screen to keep farming the New Mexico. Also has more torpedoes going towards the enemy. I mean, there are 3 battleships that could technically sail into it. I mean, I highly doubt the King George is making an aggressive turn and pushing in here, but technically possible, I guess. Now the Hatsuharu, the torpedoes in there, and that's 1 less enemy battleship, and that's unfortunately 1 less friendly Hatsuharu because the Fantas got him. Now, interestingly enough, you remember the Gneisenau that was hugging the carrier very tightly early on? The Gneisenau is still up there, and now it's, well, I don't know, I guess he's hunting the Helena, but he's never actually managed to leave the comforts of the sea cap, I suppose. We have the Scharnhorst here, I mean, the enemy still has quite a few ships here. The friendlies definitely want to play somewhat defensively here. They do have... The problem is it's still 8.5 minutes left, right? That's a long time to be relying on your points to win, so they need to sink a few more ships here, I guess. But I obviously don't need to push it. Right. The enemy team is still pretty much afraid of, I don't know what they're afraid of, probably their own shadow, so maybe they wait for it to... Well, like, I don't know, if it gets dark you don't cast a shadow anymore, but then everything is dark, so I don't know if that's going to work for them, so there might be a flaw in the enemy's plan if that's what they're waiting for. But they're definitely waiting for something. Maybe just for the game to be over. So... there is the Fantask. Now, not really a gunfight he wants to take, because there are too many enemies around and not enough friendlies. And being shot at by all of those ships might just hurt a lot. Also, he needs a little bit more time for his smokescreen to get ready so he can disappear if the fight isn't going in his favor. That's always the great thing about having a smokescreen ready, right? And basically sailing away from the enemy, you just deploy the smokescreen behind you and you disappear if the enemy gets like too big of a hit in and you need to disengage. Now, there is the Fubuki. The smoke is basically almost ready, so at this point he can disengage if he needs to, and this is just too tasty a target to not engage. He's also gotten a bit of distance between himself and the majority of the enemies. So he should be able to not eat too much damage here while farming the Fubuki. Fubuki is almost down. Next salvo might just do the trick. And the Fubuki disappeared. So there is a Makarov here. Could have tried sinking the Makarov. The Makarov is pretty much on the edge of his range though, so I'm not sure if the Makarov wouldn't sail out of the gun range by the time the shells arrived. So he decided to, you know what, I can't just get close. So I mean, this Makarov isn't going to heal, and he isn't going to be escaping him, I guess. So he can just close the distance a bit, take care of it. Also, right now he's in concealment. He could take this shot, but that would tell the Fubuki exactly where he is. So the Fubuki is very low, right? So his plan might just be to first farm the Fubuki, further increase his distance to the majority of the enemies, and then farm the Makarov. Because, you know, this Makarov isn't doing anything right now. He isn't shooting anything, he isn't disappearing, and the closer he gets, the easier it will be to actually sink him. So the Fubuki has been dealt with. Now he's dealing with the Makarov. And that's Kraken and the double strike. I guess the cheeky double strike is also a benefit of him waiting there. Meanwhile, the friendlies have lost basically all of their ships. Well, there's still a Scharnhorst boldly charging 3 battleships. There is the friendly carrier who is a little bit too aggressive there and getting charged by a Fantask, and there is the enemy carrier who is, well, I guess pretty screwed there. The enemy carrier has no help. I mean, enemy carrier can still do quite a bit of damage to the Cossack, but you know, I don't think he's going to do 9,000 points of damage before he sinks. Then again, it's technically absolutely possible for a carrier to achieve that. Torpedoes are ready. Cossack obviously only has 1 torpedo launcher. He doesn't wanna launch them too early and miss them all. And where are the enemy? It's like, why isn't the... where are the enemy planes? Why didn't he, like, immediately when he was under attack launch a new squadron and go after the Cossack? So he's going for the single launch here. Although, I mean, the carrier is still slightly maneuvering there. Only got 2 hits, but it's fine. You know, guns can easily take care of the rest. So, that's the 6th kill. But unfortunately the carrier has 1 full squadron still in the air. And he is actually the last remaining ship here. So if the carrier sinks him, then this is going to be a defeat. Well, that's a good start. At least they are dive bombers and not rocket planes. I'm not sure why he hasn't launched rocket planes. Maybe he's very low on them.
Smoke generator activated.
maybe feels more comfortable with that one. See, here's the other problem, right? It's 3 minutes 20 left, but the smoke is never going to last that long. And, well, at least the enemy carrier isn't very competent, because this smoke isn't going to last very long. And he can't just sit here above the Cossack and wait, you know. When a carrier is dead, the planes stay for an insane amount of time. So the carrier is under no pressure and he can just wait here. It's the last remaining ship. Not sitting at... Where did the carrier go? Why isn't he sitting atop of this Cossack? I mean... Did he like just use all of... No, he's still here. Like, all he needs to do is circle above, wait for the Cossack to appear again, and then, you know, attack. It's not like the Cossack's anti-air is going to do anything. He could also just keep the Cossack spotted for his other ship, but the other ships don't seem to be close enough to actually get shots in, because we don't see anything here. I feel like if the carrier would have just launched the rocket planes, and, well, as I said, I don't know if he had a full squad, but if he had, like, rocket planes and just sat here and waited, then would have dealt with the Cossack easily enough. Now also, I mean, it's 2 minutes left, the carrier has used all of his planes, so he can't spot the Cossack anymore. So even if the enemy team can get close enough, now they have no way of seeing him, and this is just a win, because the friendlies have enough points, right? In 1.5 minutes, the enemy will never catch up on here. The carrier who could have possibly stopped this failed miserably. And the enemy team is trying to bait him into fighting, but, you know, if the enemies had been less cowards and have actually tried to fight for objectives, they would have won. They didn't. So Hadi is going to take the win. Hadi earned himself 3,125 base experience, and very well done, very well done. He really had to carry this hard. And Hadi earned himself even a solo warrior. Turns out that his teammates just sank in time, that he stood alone against 4, I guess. So there is that. He also got the Confederate, the Kraken, a double strike, a first blood and a high caliber, scoring 177,000 points of damage, sinking 6 enemies, and yeah, this this was a very nice game. And once again, it just turns out that if you're afraid of cap circles, then, you know, you're probably gonna lose the game. And, well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I'll see you next time.